Good morning. Welcome to today's podcast. A little bit different of a podcast today, but if you've been following along, you know that I'm in New York City, and yesterday we did kind of the Rockettes show followed by a Knicks game, and we just wanted to go because we'd never been to an actual event at Madison Square Gardens before, so we wanted to just kind of get in the building and watch either a Knicks game or a Rangers game. Basketball as a live sport I find is a lot more exciting, even if it is the Knicks versus the Suns. Hockey I find is a lot more, I don't know, you don't really do a whole lot. It's kind of, you sit there, things happen. I feel like basketball, they focus a lot more on the actual experience of it, and in between moments and commercial breaks tend to have a lot more interesting, like, pump up stuff happening that gets you more excited to be there. So that's why I prefer going to basketball games, I guess, whenever possible. And we originally were just like, what is the cheapest we can get in the building for? And it turns out Madison Square Gardens, kind of a big deal, I guess, for tourists as well as locals. And it's kind of like Toronto, I guess, that even to get like a very, very bad seat is like $91 US plus the insane Ticketmaster fees. So we were like, okay, like $91 to sit in like the nosebleeds. Do we really want to do that? And then we started looking at other seats that if maybe we spent a little bit more, we could sit a little bit closer. And it very quickly like skyrocketed to like $300 a seat to have like a half decent seat. And then if you wanted to sit like on the floor or courtside, you were probably going to be spending like $2,700 US. Then Lindsay managed to find us a day and a half ago a verified Ticketmaster reseller that was clearly hyper motivated to get tickets out of his, or at least make some money on the tickets rather than just like not use them and let them go to waste. So he listed them for, I think it was like $157 on Ticketmaster, and there was 4 of them. So for Nova, Matt, Lindsay, and I, this sit like on the floor was less money than a single ticket should have been. So the people that were sitting behind us, I think they spent like $2,600 on their tickets to give a value, I guess. So this is like the best deal we've ever found. So I guess like when I did the travel hacks episode, I talked about kind of just having all of the opportunities open to you and exploring all of them and finding the best deal within those opportunities. And we were looking at like Knicks game, we were looking at the Brooklyn game, we were looking at Rangers game, and all kinds of different things. And we weren't really sold on one specific thing. So by having all of those options and finding the best deal within all of them, we actually found a phenomenal deal that I'm pretty certain will never actually happen again. And it was and like, I don't know, like I've never really been to a show or I guess a concert at Madison Square Gardens or a basketball game either here or in LA, but it seems that the density of famous people that show up in New York and LA is a lot more significant than in Toronto. In Toronto, you get like Drake and you get like Weckerly, who's one of the dragons on Dragon's Den, pretty often. And other than that, it's not really too exciting, I guess, as far as people attending. Whereas like we were sitting a few rows away from Nick and Joe Jonas, and Tracy Morgan was there. I think Seth Godin was there too. I couldn't get close enough to actually identify whether it was him or not, but it would have been nice to say hi to him. And then Gary Vaynerchuk was also there, who's somebody that I've followed for a very, very long time. That word was time. So Gary was one of the, I guess, influences in me even starting a daily podcast. The fact that he is just, I guess he has a full team. He has like 11 people or whatever that all do his like personal branding content. And that means putting on his podcast every day as well as doing like daily videos and cutting stuff up for Instagram. I don't have that size of team in order to create that much content. But I thought that by doing like a daily video, like, or daily series for like a little while was totally sustainable. I did that over July, I guess, last year. So that's when I did my 30-day wedding photography course. So if you haven't checked that out, it's a full 30-day course. Every single day I made a new video for it. He was kind of the inspiration behind that and just releasing content and following his example rather than just like the motivational stuff that he says. So I think like one of the main complaints about him as a person is the fact that he really does lean on the motivational aspect of entrepreneurship rather than the actual tactical side of things. And I think that that there is a lot of actual tactical stuff in there as long as you're willing to kind of dig through the motivational stuff. I think that he kind of responds to what the market's doing, and if he releases a motivational clip and it goes viral and tons of people share it and comment on it, and it gets them pumped up, like obviously he's going to do more of that. But the actual tactical stuff, I feel like is a lot less exciting and a lot less shared because people don't really usually like to do things, that they just want to get amped up to be like, yeah, like I'm going to make my 6-figure life, and then just forget about that by the next day. But it gives them that short-term boost of excitement and I guess just like the ability, like, yeah, like I'm going to make it for sure. And then by day 2, you've forgotten. But for like actual tactical things that he's given me, and even just the fact, just by him leading this example of just like releasing so much content and really establishing himself as a personal media brand, when again, he's realistically like, he's kind of nobody. Like he started like a wine show a long time ago, and from there realized that this is kind of the way that things were moving. So he was one of the first guys into Google AdWords, which is how Amazon built their business as well, that when they saw that opportunity, they just invested everything. They went all in on Google AdWords, and now Amazon is kind of a significant deal in every marketplace. So he's kind of been the same way, I guess, as far as being early on that, and whatever he is really bullish on usually translates to whatever I happen to be doing at that time. So right now, if you are listening to his podcast, Daily V, search for Gary Vaynerchuk on iTunes, and he is very bullish on Facebook ads, Instagram swipe up ads being the most undervalued of all of the ads. And I'm going to say last year at some point, I took advantage of this probably around the time that I was releasing. Actually, no, it was around the time. So it was May, June of this year. I heard that in one of his podcasts, and I was like, all right, I'm going to figure out how to do Instagram swipe up ads. It was kind of a brand new release of technology that nobody was really exploring yet. And he just kind of gave me the 1-sentence push to be like, just do it. So I figured it out, and it really transformed at least like my YouTube following. I put, I'm going to say like $10, $15 a day into swipe up ads, and it really did do a lot of good for my YouTube channel. And maybe the reason that you're listening to this podcast is because you saw one of those swipe up ads, and that's kind of like the exact example. And to this day, I'm still doing like $10 a day into those, because it does generate quite a lot of a following, and organic following as well, that's not I guess forced or specifically just bought. Like you can't just go online and buy people that actually will interact with you. So if you have like 100,000 followers and only 100 likes on every photo, it's pretty clear, at least to the people that know what's going on, that you have purchased most of your following. Whereas if you grow it organically and you spend maybe a little bit more money, you're doing it in a way that doesn't violate the terms of service of Instagram, which is very important because you don't want your account shut down. And 2, just like finding people in your niche, like the targeted ad tools within Facebook, Instagram are absolutely amazing. So if you have anything to sell, this is the time to do it. That's another thing that I've kind of taken from my learnings of Gary, that if there is a time, if there's an opportunity to really take advantage of that and to build something based on that opportunity, rather than trying to fit a product into like try to market a thing that the market doesn't want, through tools that are more challenging. If you're able to just like create a product specifically to be marketed by whatever the opportunity is right now, you can do a lot of very good things. So just modifying your approach to what is working out there in the world. And right now, the most undervalued still, I think, is the Instagram swipe up ads, because a lot of companies, well, you are seeing kind of more and more of them pop up. For the most part, an ad purchase on that is a lot less money. And it's, and I guess like the other, takeaway from Gary that I've learned is the fact that like media, as far as like billboards and radio and television, is very much dead, I guess, to us. And it's very overvalued, and it has yet to correct for what's actually going on in the marketplace. So there is no sense purchasing one of those ads right now until the prices start to come down, because you can get a lot more leverage out of your dollars put into online Facebook, Instagram ads than any sort of other media. So it's nice to have a voice in the industry that is very open to talking about that, and who runs a media company and is very much like pushing his clients in almost an aggressive fashion to just like ditch all of that and put all of their funds into online if they really do want to build a brand. So it's been very interesting to listen to him kind of become the authority on that, and to just have like a very similar wavelength of things as far as what I'm believing. The other, I guess, criticism on him usually is the fact that he's just like so hyper excited all the time about what he's doing that it seems like he's always on drugs. I don't think that that's the case, and he's actually like a really, really nice, chill dude when you're actually just talking to him. Like very, very nice. If you like mention anything about his family, like his eyes actually literally light up, which is actually really cool. That he's not as business as like hustle focused as the internet makes him seem. Well, that is kind of like his angle, I guess, on this. That's his persona online. It's very not like 100% true that the family side of him, the time off side of him is never really revealed online. So it's just kind of, he's all in online about like the hustle and actually getting stuff done. And I think that is a model that you can follow to a point. Obviously you have to find your own kind of work-life balance, but as far as what I've learned over the past few years, that my strategy is usually to create a lot of content kind of in season. So you'll notice that like on Instagram, I'll go heavy from like May to August, and then I'll go very light through the rest of the year. And then I'll do this podcast every day from now until maybe like February, March, April, before it's going to go to maybe like twice a week or something a little bit less intensive, I guess, on my time, because it is a lot of time to do this every single day. And I typically try not to batch things together. I know that I could just like sit down one day and record like 100 podcasts and release them over the next bunch of days, but then I wouldn't be able to bring content as I've learned kind of yesterday and actually keep you guys updated with exactly what's happening kind of in this date and time. And by doing that, I feel like I make a better product, and I feel like I also get to do this every day, which is one of the most important parts for me, was that like Gary and so many other people online are amazing in front of a camera, amazing in front of a microphone. I felt that I was kind of like 65% good at doing podcasts, and I feel like I have improved significantly over the past couple of months. So maybe you've seen that improvement. I definitely feel that improvement. I definitely make more or less mistakes than ever before, which is kind of why I started doing this, as well as just to constantly be thinking about creating new content every single day, which I think is something that we can all think about. The last thing I'm going to leave you with, I'll also kind of maybe touch on a little bit how we ended up in the exact right spot at the right time for this opportunity to happen. But the last thing that I want to mention is the thing that Gary's always pushing upon everybody, and that is to become a media brand yourself. That if you want to be successful, if you want to generate a following, figure out what niche market you can serve or what broad market you can serve. Like, he's very broad into just like all entrepreneurship things, and that's done very well for him. For a more attainable goal, I think it makes sense to come up in a niche before expanding. So figure out whatever your niche is if you want to generate a following like this and live, I guess, like a lifestyle modeled, I guess, more after him, where I guess he's had some more fortunate opportunities investing really early on Facebook and Twitter and a bunch of other companies to make his actual money. But by having the personal brand that people actually, they want to hire you to speak, they want you in the room, like that your name is going to bring more people to an event. Whenever you get to that level, you start to make a lot more money, and you also start to have a lot more just like random, fun, interesting opportunities that come up, which I think is more important than actually making money, because it keeps things less boring and just creates a better life for you. So those are my thoughts today. I'll officially leave you with, I guess, like kind of the story about how all of this came together and why that I think it's important to just figure out what community you want to be part of, what sub-community. That if you want to be part of Gary Vee's network, you want to become like somebody that's actually knows him or attached to him, or even just like run into him at a basketball game like one single time for a photo, a handshake, and to say thanks for teaching so much and never really asking for money, with the exception of like a couple of books here and there. I think it's important to model yourself and your behavior and what you do after what they would do. So if you want to really get in the head of a Gary Vee or whoever your specific individual is, start doing the things like when you're in the city that they're in. Like, there's a pretty good chance that if you go to a Jets game, that he's probably going to be at that Jets game somewhere. Or like the Knicks, because if you follow somebody, or if you follow Gary specifically, you know that he's a very big advocate on basically the underdog. So right now the Jets suck and the Knicks suck. So he is very, very passionate and invested in both of those teams. His thing has always been that he wants to buy the New York Jets at some point. And well, that is kind of like a big dream that he will likely achieve at some point in his life. If the Jets win the Super Bowl before he buys the team, I feel like he might not end up actually following through with that plan, that he might be looking more specifically at the Knicks if they're still a little bit of a failure. So there was, I would say, a pretty good chance that he would be at that game. Football game, he could kind of be anywhere in the entire audience. Basketball game, there's really only like 50 seats that he would probably be in. And sure enough, like, we show up and game starts and he's there. So just putting yourself in the right opportunities for these things to happen. Same with like, I've kind of done this with Casey Neistat as well, that kind of roughly where he is, maybe not now, but at the time that he was kind of starting his vlog, you knew roughly that like he lived in this like specific area kind of near Canal Street, and he recorded most of his content within like 8 blocks of there. So if you wanted to have a chance run in, spend some time there, get a hotel there, and just kind of like hang out and just kind of hope for the best. And I guess it's kind of the opportunity plus preparedness, I guess, makes these opportunities happen. That's not the quote that I was looking for, but that's what came out. So yeah, thanks so much for listening today. Don't forget to subscribe if you are not yet subscribed to my podcast, and I will see you tomorrow from New York City. Also on Patreon today, the Secret Podcast is up as well. So if you are interested in being part of the Ask Me Anything Secret Podcast, you can listen to it this week and then plug in any questions that you have for next week, and I'm happy to answer as many as I possibly can. And I will see you tomorrow on this podcast. See you then.